Okay, chat. So, indie games. You guys want to know how do they do it? So, I mean, there's certain ones, but um, big one they use is Kickstarter crowdfunding, right? There's crowdfunder is a weird one. Okay. There's Indiegogo and their Kickstarter. So Kickstarter is the biggest one known so far. Indiegogo's kind of weird because it's a smaller community, but also like if you're like in the visual novel space, it's harder to actually get like recognized. But take me for example, right? I am right now. Visual novels are kind of the easiest to do right now because of my lack of experience. But so um, visual novels, right? If you take a look at their pledge, right, their goal is 75,000. So because they do 75,000, doesn't necessarily mean that they're making money, but they might break even, especially if they're above the limit. They might be breaking even or enough to cover expenses and whatnot. It's kind of like a safe fail, right? Uh, and if you look at the results of this, they got 300 very positive reviews, right? Uh, Not that like reviews mean that's how many it sold. This is crazy because this is like a 3D one. If they sold it as like 3D, they probably would have gotten a lot more sales. But like this is not really one that you hear a lot, right? Um, thanks for subscribing by the way. But like 300 times 30 is like not that much. Chat is not really that much. 9,000 maybe. Um, like yes, because think about it, not everyone leaves a review, so it could be way more than 300. This could just be the people who leaves a review, but you can't really gauge how many people bought the game, so you have to kind of do it off of positive reviews, right? But like, let's just say 9,000 people bought this who weren't part of Kickstarter, right? Because I don't know if they are considered people who are part of pledge or whatnot. So that's the reason why I said like 9,000, right? Um, and you don't know the team, okay? But like, it makes things possible. So remember Shemu? Yeah, $6 million, 6 million. Their goal was just 2 million, by the way, and like they used it towards more stuff. So like subtitles, short cinema shorts, shorts, and like all this extra stuff. People did not like the way Shemu came out. How much were they away from the next part? Okay, yeah, they were quite a bit away. So like they reached enough for the battle system expanded. They could not do ragdoll reaction, but how much can they get from Shemu right now? Or how the reception? Because I know Shemu did not get good reception. It ain't or it's a mixed bag, right? So Shenmue has like 1,000 sales. I know you can get really darn cheap though. So, like as in positive reviews though, like, but like there has been no talks. This was made in at least a 2020. There has been no talks about making a part four. When was this project? Last updated 2020. This was in 2015. Was to deliver. So this was way back. This Kickstarter was made so many years ago. 5 years. Oh my goodness! Imagine waiting 5 years for all this. That's crazy. Yeah. Okay. Featured funding period. This funding period. Yeah. 2000 July June 15th to July 32 days. So their funding period was insane. So that's a lot of money they got. They must have. They could have probably done if they. I don't know. Some people say it's good to just do 30 something days instead of the full 60. Some people say to have like 40 days. It really all depends, right? So certain projects get backed up more compared to others. Okay, let's take a look at this one, right? This one only wanted half a million. They ended up getting 500 5.5 million, right? I don't even know what they wanted. Like all this extra mumble jumble, right? Did they even have extra? Okay, that's why. That's what really all that for boss revenge. That's insane, right? And then what's that in the background? Something in the background. All that just for some boss rush. That's insane, man. So right now the game is currently on sale, right? The game right now, I can find the stinking game. You game. If you want to buy the game, you can buy the game right now for $10. It's originally a $40 game, which is insane. Or get the full bundle for 17 full game 52, which is insane to me. But and then there's a whole bunch of DLCs apparently you could pay for. That's insane to me, but oh wait, what? I don't know. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff for this game. But yeah, that game got all that funding for Boss Rush. Dang, when was this funded, by the way? Or how many people backed this project up? Like, did it even have a big name? This was all the way in back in 2015. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So this was for Wii U. Oh my, they were doing this for a Wii U game. That's insane. So yeah, like when you have people backing up the project, it's kind of a good way to, for one, let's say you don't have any source of income coming through. It's a good way to kind of have income in case the project fails. Where it's like, well, at least I had the money to begin with. If no one actually like buys the game afterwards. But it's also a fail because if the game is trash, it's like, what if they don't want to help you in the future? Because I'm not gonna show the games that were horrendous, but there was a game that had a crazy Kickstarter. It had like 80,000 to $100,000 in donations, right? And the game gets mixed reviews. It is not um well accepted. It's very sad, honestly. Um, so it's just sad because it's like, well, not much we can do there because the game kind of just flopped. Um, and it's kind of like they're not gonna get more people to buy the game because oh, if you kickstart Mighty Number Nine, you better kickstart my game. That's for sure. Oh yeah, I've ever seen that somewhere. Let me check Mighty Number Nine. I haven't put my game out yet, but is that even Mighty? I can't even find. I guess it's no longer visible on Kickstarter. Speaking of which, might as well show you guys. I know I have to make my Kickstarter more appealing. Um, which is a good question. I have to ask you guys. Um, mine is a visual novel, so I know it is a bit harder to advertise mine. But I do have a question for you guys. So, and why do you regret advertising Mighty Number Nine? So this is my Kickstarter right now. Yeah, I know it's a horrible work in progress in terms of like the thumbnail. You have to actually look at it. But if you like visual novels, how would I get a male audience to look at my game? Is my question. Also, why do you regret Mighty Number Nine? And in terms of what I was trying to say prior, is I was saying something and then you kind of make me lose focus. In terms of oh, yeah, mixed reviews. So yeah, a mixed review could hurt you on Steam because I know 10 good reviews could help you, but the moment people start seeing mixed reviews, they're like, "Do I really want to get a game that has mixed reviews?" It's kind of like when you buy something, it's like, I don't know, mixed reviews. So every time I try, it's not in a negative way, but every time I try asking about the game just out of curiosity, it's like they're just like, "Oh, I don't want to get the game." And it's just like, why not? It's just like, oh, because it has mixed reviews. Not only that, the pricing for it is too much for the audience is trying to cater to. So it's also trying to know your audience because your audience, if your audience doesn't want a game that expensive, then it's just like who's gonna want to help fund you? Like if you guys were to play visual novels, right? How much would you pay for a visual novel? What's the max you would pay for a visual novel, right? That isn't that isn't what's it called? AAA. $20? Is anyone else saying $20? No voices. Okay. How about with voices and without voices, right? There's two questions. With voices and without voices. Is there gonna be a difference? Like, are you guys gonna be any difference on length? What's gonna make the difference for you? Length, voices, art. What are things that's gonna factor? Why wouldn't you pay 30 or 40 or 50 or $60 for a visual novel? Gigantic. Is it what's it called? The fence line? The 100 lines of defense? What's the visual novel called? And what is your definition of gigantic? Well, since that's the case, I know you better be helping me kickstart I know you better help me kickstart my game when it comes out, that's for sure. Be like Lloyd's Playbook. Be like, yo, y'all, make sure to follow my Kickstarter Lloyd's Playbook. Be like, hey, yo, yo. Anywho, I gotta definitely make a better thumbnail. Um, I don't, I don't know. Oh, I don't care as much as other things. Yeah, it's 100. Yeah, 100 lines is a triple A title. That's the difference, though. What about indie title? Because 100 lines of defense has other mechanics aside from reading, and it has the name. Dang. Okay, 100 lines of defense. Think about what you just said, though. 100 lines of defense is a triple A title, has hours and hours of content. It has more than just reading. It's it has backing of knowing the brand, as in you know who the Spike Chunsoft. But like for example, me, you haven't played my other games. Even if you have, what would make this game Lloyd's Playbook any different, right? So it's like, why would, besides supporting me as a VTuber, why would you pay $70 for this visual, right? So for an indie title, let's say, how much would you pay without voice acting? How much would you pay with voice acting? From least to most, I guess. Least range to most range. We're not going to include DLC part in this scenario. No voices, okay? 20 with voices. Does that include length or no length? I spent $10 for a 15-hour visual novel with no voices. Okay. 15-hour visual novel with no voices. $10 for a 15-hour visual novel, no voices. 20 with voices. So why are you okay with spending 70 on 100 lines of defense, but indie title $20? Let's say they're both 100, and let's say they're both 100 hours. So 20 for a new. Okay. Let's just say $20. But let's also say this. Um let's say, let me see how long. Let's say $20, right? Are you also taking consideration art style? Are you also taking consideration, is the story the main factor to you, or is the art style? If you looked at just the art and my plot summary, did I send this to you? Of my premise so far, how much would you be like this game is worth? Or would you be like it's not enough a hook? That's my question. Because you could be like, oh, well, you know what? It has an interesting premise, but the art style's not there. Therefore, I just can't. You see what I'm saying? It's like, it's a bit of a dilemma. It's like, I would help you, but you're kind of like not there yet. 15 hours. That's crazy. 15 hours, $10 for 15 hours. And that 15 hours is probably like 100 hours on our side. Not including story themes, all the registers. So art has nothing to play with, you guys. Story and theme. Art has nothing to play with, you guys. Hello. What's up, Tempsus? The art can look like crayon if the story's good enough. But then how would you know if the story's good if that wasn't the factor? That's what I'm saying. It's like a catch 22. How would you know that the story would be good? What would you return the game and like in a minute if you're like, I don't think the story's good. Like that's what I'm saying. Okay, here's my elevator pitch for my visual novel. Okay, let me let me give you my elevator pitch for my visual novel. This is Lloyd's playbook. You are Lloyd Lockhart. I wonder if that last name's gonna be a reference to anything. But you are Lloyd Lockhart. You are a hostess at a bar. You are a playboy because you do not want your heart to be broken because you have trauma. You have commitment issues. Therefore, you play around with women. You don't want to be close to women. But that all changes one day when you have an encounter with one of the girls. So, which girl is gonna be the one right for you? If you pick the wrong girl, what's gonna lead to? Would it lead to mischief or murder? So, find out in Lloyd's playbook. Did that catch your attention? Did that get your attention? Was that enough to sell you? It's just like Lloyd, playboy, plays too much with women, could lead to his death. Will you find the perfect girl, or will you die a horrid death? Low key, that's a good tagline. I think the tagline is "You're the red flag." So yeah, chat. What do y'all think? It's more. Is it more? It's both. It's a. It's a. It could be dependent on your route, essentially. What it could be one route is more romantic, one route's more comedic, one route's more dramatic, one route's more action based. It really depends on which route you pick. So